Welcome back, everyone, to the recap show of the PUBG Mobile World League West Season 0. I'm Jason Kaplan. I've been hosting the entire thing as we finally come to a conclusion of our 3 weeks of league play. And speaking of league play, let's take a look right off the bat here to the 16 teams who made it through into our third and final Super Weekend. Now, footballists, they came out the gates flying, 137 points total. And Nova Esports, a team that we didn't really see too much of in the past. We've been talking about Cat on their team. They've definitely been on the rise and got themselves a second place finish. For me, the real standout, though, is going to be UDR Killers. They didn't make it in to the second Super Weekend. They were looking to redeem themselves here in the third, and they sure as hell did it, qualifying through in fourth place. Now, you look at the top 10, and you're sitting there saying, well, Jason, where's Cloud9? Well, Cloud9 is not on the first page. They are on the second page, and they unfortunately didn't even qualify through into the third and final Super Weekend. We'll talk about why that's really important when we get into that portion of the show. But you can see Frag Machines, they made it through. We had Headquarters, they made it through as well. So we had two teams who had never played in the Super Weekend with a chance to somehow qualify through into our finals come up in just a few days' time. And they definitely gave it their all. It was definitely tough to do so, but let's see now in our Super Weekend standings as things have all wrapped up where they placed. Loops Esports, they took themselves first place away from Cloud9 because Cloud9, like we saw before, did not qualify through into the Super Weekend. So Cloud9 went from getting 50K and just handing it over to Loops on a silver platter. Wildcard even stepped up massively here in the last day as well as they got them through to second place for 25 grand. Footballists, Tempo Storm, Dream Eaters, they all surpassed Cloud9, but unfortunately B4 Esports and Pittsburgh Knights could just not do it. Kanita Power moving from the second page over to the first have gotten themselves some extra money in the pocket as we now hop over to the second and final page. And you see here, Team Unique, Nova, Yala, Umbra, Alpha Legends, and UDR Killers. Not only do they earn themselves a piece of the pool of money, they also get themselves through straight into the finals. And unfortunately, Frag Machines, Headquarters, SWAT 69, and KHK Esports will have to watch from the sidelines. Really sad to see, though, that KHK didn't make it into a single Super Weekend. And the 99 points that Frag Machines accrued was not enough to surpass UDR Killers at 197. So now to dive right into our number one team with the stats they had in this entirety of all these Super Weekends. Loops Esports come out with a 50K and come out as the MVP team in my eyes here. And the team definitely to watch out for when we get through into our finals. You can see Kayowski get himself a nice 20K damage. Carrillo, though, that's been the real man to watch, especially on our third and final day of our last Super Weekend with this 26, almost 27,000 damage done. His almost 140 kills, almost 137 knockouts, and of course the assists to boot. But you can't forget about Dadim. You can't forget about Federal either. All their members really playing off the chain when it came to getting Loops into that first position. When we talk about individual players, let's take a look at our top 10 players over the course of this entire event. And you can see here in 5th place, Tenza, moving up the rankings, getting himself very far up there with 106 kills overall, even getting himself 62 assists as well. He's got his teammate Spec in there. We got Lovazin coming in from Footballists. Adder, unfortunately, again, not playing in the final Super Weekend, has dropped out from the top into 8th place. Footballists getting Raum here into 9th, so that's all 4 players from Footballists making it into our top 10 players. And even Asor coming in from Wildcard as we talked about him back when it came to the opening weekend of matches. But now, as you mentioned, or as you noticed, I didn't talk about any of the top 4 players because we want to dive a little bit deeper into the statistics they were able to really put forth here in the final games. And you can see Carrillo leading the way. 136 kills, 27,000 damage done. You got Dadim there as well, his teammate. But then you also see Solkay and Lutz coming in from Footballists. These are the two teams we talked about as being the heavy fraggers when it comes to playing here in the West League, and they showed it yet again, though Footballists was the only team to get all 4 members in towards the top, and Lutz has definitely shined in this last and final Super Weekend. Get himself up to 106 kills. He had like 21 nade kills. I think it's even more than that now as we've seen over the course of this last weekend. This lets me wonder, we've had Carrillo as the MVP 2 weeks running, but who's going to be the MVP in our final Super Weekend? And from what I'm hearing, we're going to see a little bit of a different player. So let's take a look. It's actually going to be Tenza stepping up from what we saw in the very first opening weekend. He has yet again come up big, 29 kills, 5,700 damage, and he was also a massive part to Tempo Storm climbing up the leaderboards and getting so many points when it came to the third and final Super Weekend. So obviously a big shout out to him, and I believe we'll be doing an interview with him sometime throughout the week to talk about his previous performances and also talk about what's coming up in the finals, which kicks off on the 6th at 11 a.m. PDT. If you aren't watching it, I don't know what else you're going to be doing. Hopefully you have a good excuse for it. And if you missed out on anything that happened this last Super Weekend, you're lucky once again. But for the last time, here's some highlights from all we saw here for PUBG Mobile.